Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Get ready to travel back in time with me, because today we re-embarking on an epic journey. The entire history of England. And trust me, it's going to be a wild ride, full of surprising twists, incredible innovations, and some seriously ancient drama. We're starting at the very beginning, long before castles and kings, back when England looked incredibly different. Imagine a land of woolly mammoths, saber-toothed cats, and incredibly resourceful humans. We're talking about the Stone Age, folks. Evidence suggests human ancestors were here around 900,000 years ago, but continuous habitation really kicks off after the last ice age, about 12,000 years ago. These Mesolithic people were hunter-gatherers, living off the land, fishing in rivers, and adapting to a world slowly warming up. Then came a massive shift. The Neolithic Revolution, around 4,500 BC. This wasn't a sudden war, but a slow, monumental change as people started farming. They cleared forests, planted crops, and domesticated animals. This meant more stable food supplies, which led to larger, more permanent settlements. And with permanent homes came monuments. Think about incredible sites like Stonehenge and Avebury. These aren't just piles of rocks. They were sophisticated feats of engineering and astronomy, built by communities working together, perhaps for religious ceremonies, celestial observations, or even as burial sites. Just imagine the effort, the planning, and the sheer human spirit it took to raise those colossal stones thousands of years ago without any modern tools. It's mind-boggling, right? Fast forward to around 2500 BC, and we enter the Bronze Age. This era brought a new technology. People learned to mine copper and tin, and then combine them to create bronze, a much stronger and more versatile material than stone. This innovation changed everything. Suddenly, tools were sharper, weapons were more effective, and a whole new range of crafts emerged. Bronze Age societies became more hierarchical, with skilled metalworkers holding a special place. We see evidence of trade routes developing, with goods and ideas flowing across what would one day become Britain and beyond. The iconic Beaker people, named for their distinctive pottery, arrived and spread across the island, bringing new customs and burial practices. Around 800 BC, another technological leap occurred. The Iron Age. Iron was more common than bronze, making tools and weapons more accessible to everyone. This led to a boom in agriculture and a rise in population. The landscape began to be dotted with distinctive hill forts. Impressive defensive settlements built atop hills. These weren't just for protection. They were also centers of trade, community, and power. Life in the Iron Age was complex. We had distinct tribes with their own territories, chiefs, and cultural practices. They developed intricate metalwork, beautiful pottery, and a rich oral tradition. They worshipped various gods, often associated with nature and the elements. Now, imagine this diverse, tribal land, minding its own business when, around 55 BC, a new force arrives. The Romans. Julius Caesar, fresh from conquering Gaul, made two reconnaissance missions to Britain. He didn't stay long, but he saw potential and made a strong statement. Rome was interested. Almost a century later, in 43 AD, Emperor Claudius launched a full-scale invasion. The Roman legions were formidable, incredibly organized, and technologically superior. They systematically conquered much of what is now England and Wales, facing fierce resistance from tribes like the Iceni, led by the legendary Queen Buda. Her rebellion, though ultimately crushed, showed the Romans that these barbarians were not to be underestimated. For nearly 400 years, Britain was a Roman province. The Romans brought their incredible infrastructure, paved roads that still form parts of our modern network, aqueducts, public baths, and vibrant cities like Londinium, London, Camulodunum, Colchester, and Ebracum, York. They introduced Roman law, coinage, and even a new language, Latin, which greatly influenced the future English language. Villas, sophisticated country estates, popped up across the land, showcasing Roman architectural and artistic styles. While the native Britons initially resisted, many eventually adopted Roman ways, creating a fascinating blend of cultures. Christianity also arrived during this period, slowly taking root. Hadrian's Wall, that magnificent barrier stretching across northern England, wasn't just a military defense. It was a physical and symbolic frontier of the Roman Empire, a testament to their power and ambition. But all empires eventually face challenges. By the early 5th century AD, the Roman Empire was stretched thin, facing threats from all sides. In 410 AD, Emperor Honorius famously told the Britons to look to your own defenses. The Roman legions officially withdrew, leaving Britain to fend for itself. This left a power vacuum, and what followed is often called the Dark Ages. Not because nothing happened, but because our historical records become much scarcer. This period saw the arrival of new groups from mainland Europe, the Anglo-Saxons and Jutes. These Germanic tribes, initially invited to help defend against Pictish raids, eventually settled and began to dominate the land. Their arrival marks the end of Roman Britain and the dawn of Anglo-Saxon England, laying the foundations for the kingdom we know today. And that, my friends, brings us to the end of our ancient chapter. What an incredible journey, from primitive hunter-gatherers to sophisticated Roman cities and the first stirrings of Anglo-Saxon culture. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into England's earliest days. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe for more historical adventures, and let me know in the comments what surprised you most about ancient England. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.